I am in the School of Theater in the College of Fine Arts. I am a theater arts major, and I am a junior. I'm somebody who uses the label non-binary, so I don't really identify as a man or a woman. I find outside binaries being applied to me to be oppressive and just not true. Within that, I have found that I have an alignment towards feminine energy and feminine forms of presentation. So I say that I'm a non-binary femme, somebody who's femme presenting. At the same time, even though I am a femme and that's a huge part of my identity, I'm very fluid in terms of what my relationship to gender presentation is. So I guess that's really what the chaotic element of it is that one day I might be wearing false breasts and a full face of makeup, and the next day I'll be in sweats and a large blanket sized sweater, and those two things exist in the same person, and that's okay. I think I said gender chaotic art ho nerd. I just literally took things that I was okay, these things vaguely describe me and are accurate. Boom, 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 boom. I put up stories that are generally, at this point, it's kind of just become a home for my poetry. I'm a spoken word poet. And so a lot of my poems I publish, I work on on my own, and then I'm okay, this one's ready to be published, and I put it on my Medium. I'm somebody who as my artistic goal, it's to change the culture. And so I'm somebody who is often very culture critical and just likes to use that medium, that blog space, as a way of expressing things that I have otherwise not expressed. The passion part of it at this point is something that I'm figuring out, because at first I was very much I want to change the culture because the way that the culture is set up right now disadvantages people, and that's not cool. And as somebody who is disadvantaged in many different ways, or as I'm told I'm disadvantaged in many different ways, somebody who is a holder of many different intersections that are not given as many privileges as other intersections, I am well, I have something to say about that. I don't think that's cool. I think here perhaps is a different way, or here perhaps is something that you could not do that would make my life easier. I say that I have been trained to act, right? I've acquired the skills and training that allow me to inhabit the mannerisms of a different person. I really feel in a society that tells me to be small, a radical act is taking up space. And so an even more radical act is performing myself, right? My most authentic, sense of personhood, having that on full display for everyone to see. And so before I was okay, I'm an actor, I play other people, there is distance between me and my characters. And now I'm actually skeptical of even calling myself an actor. Rather, I prefer to say that I'm a performer, in the way that we're all performers. It's just coming off to you as authentically Dev Blair as an offhand conversation with me, because I think that that's the most important performance of my life, is myself, my true self. And I feel as though, if I, as an art maker, don't see myself represented in the art that I engage with, I have the utmost, I have almost a duty to live the art that I want to see. Which skin serves me the best in terms of doing my arts activist work? I think it's my own. At the same time that I'm a non-binary person, I'm a trans person, because non-binary falls under the umbrella, the greater umbrella of trans. And so it's under the umbrella of trans, you have gender nonconforming, gender queer, non-binary, transgender. And so transgender implies a relationship that appears to be binary, and that there's movement from one point to another. Whereas for me, I'm I just reject the binary entirely. I'm just I'm not related. Thank you. I use they, them, theirs pronouns generally. I also I also respond to she, her, hers, because again, I am a non-binary femme, and I like being referred to as she. It just feels good. And so I'm more or less just doing what feels good when it comes to pronouns, and that's really what anyone's really doing. Is this is how I feel comfortable being referred to. I it's a respect thing more than anything. It's if you heard me, you listen, right? You listen, so let's just go ahead and do it. I came out as queer just in terms of sexuality during high school, and I thought that was it. I was okay, I've gone through my journey of self-realization, and I know myself now. And then I got to college, and I was oh, also gender is a question mark. And so I spent like a semester just like wearing skirts and like leggings and just like seeing how that felt. And like at the time, I still use he, him, his pronouns. I was like, I'm just going to experiment and figure things out. And like if it results in a pronoun change, it results in a pronoun change. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And then ultimately it did. Just give yourself the permission to explore as deeply and as thoroughly as you feel it is safe for you to do.